Welcome to Bigfoot Society. If you have Bigfoot activity to report from the same areas discussed in this episode, please reach out to me directly after this episode. And if you'd like to be on the podcast to discuss a personal Bigfoot encounter, please reach out to me directly at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. Do you wish there was more Bigfoot Society to listen to every week? Well, there is now. If you become a supporting member over at Patreon, you get a special members-only episode every single week on Wednesdays, and sometimes even more episodes. Head on over to patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. And now let's get on with the show. 3, 2, 1. All right, Bigfoot Society. Got the privilege of talking to TJ today. TJ's a listener that reached out to me through email. TJ's from the Lane County area of Oregon. Specifically, we could say about 30 miles away from Oak Ridge. So that gives us a kind of an area of what we're looking at here. But TJ, thank you for coming on the show today.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely. So I think there's going to be some really interesting things that are talked about today. Just in the pre-interview, you brought up some stuff that just blew my mind. But let's start with what you reached out to me about first, which is the sighting you had when you were a much younger individual, correct?
Yes, I was 13 at the time, yeah.
Is there anything that listeners would also need to know about you, or is what I said enough for people to know, do you think?
Just about that, if I stutter or can't understand me, I am a 3-time stroke survivor, so be patient with me. That's all I say.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's right. Yeah. So anyway, so I was about 13 years old. I lived in Salt Creek, and I grew up on a farm, and specifically we raised rabbits for a fryer. That's how we made our money growing up. My dad was a rabbit farmer, pretty much what it said, and we sold rabbits back then. You used to sell rabbits like chickens for food, and we had about 1,500 rabbits, but we go barn, and we had goats and all that things. And so we had it down the country. So we had cow fields all the way around us, and we had a house, and then about 125, 30 feet from the house is the barn back behind us. And then we had a big old trail that went through the cow fields. About 100 yards or so from that barn was the actual Fall Creek. So I would go back there as a kid and just wander around in the woods back there and all the bushes and things about the creek. And my favorite thing to do was to hunt for special rocks and things like that, and see if I get any stones or jasper or anything, or quartz or anything like that. And I would use big rocks to crash open the smaller rocks. So I was doing that one day, and I had this big old rock and smashing the rock. And it was probably about 15, 20 minutes I was doing this, and all of a sudden I hear this cracking of a sound behind me to the left. And to figure out, is the same sound I was making, the cracking the rocks together. I thought, what the heck is going on here? I thought maybe, and we have river otters out there, so I thought maybe the river otters was eating the river clams kind of thing, because these rocks get crackle with the clams. And I thought, it didn't probably sound like that. So I sat there just still for a minute, and I just rock and cracked against another rock again to see, and it happened again, and a little bit louder this time. I thought, okay. And so then all of a sudden that big rock came flying by me, and had been in the creek in front of me. So I freaked out a little bit and sat there, and I thought, and mind you, I'm a tomboy. I'm not really afraid of much because I was raised in the farmland and woods pretty much, so I wasn't really afraid of much because I spent a lot of time in the woods. I stepped out in the creek a little bit, about ankle, mid-calf length deep, and I sat there and I leaned forward to look around the bushes, and I see this about 5 foot tall or so. I was about 5 foot tall. So I say 5 foot because about the same height as I was. And so I thought 5 foot tall, and I'm looking at this thing, and now, but back up a little bit, we had in Fall Creek in the hills, we had these people they're called the mountain people. That's what we call them. They're just people that have gone and lived in the mountains, just regular people that would go in the mountains and live, and they would grow their hair long and all this stuff, and just be just kind of vagrants kind of, and so if they couldn't afford to live in a home or whatever. I thought that's what this was. So I sat there and said, hi, because that's how my mom raised me, be nice to people. So I said, hi, and this kind of thing looked at me, and he said, it didn't say anything, but I think it was a she because it had feminine features on the face, and it looked like a person, and it had blondish, reddish hair and long curly hair. And it's nothing like I've seen portrayed in the videos I've seen ever. And it looks like nothing like I've seen. And it looked like a person, but not a person. So I knew it wasn't a person, but I couldn't decide. So I was kind of conflicted. And so then I said hi, and this thing kind of smirked, kind of half smile. So I think it might have been a younger one. It was only 5 foot tall. So I think I can't imagine what age it was, but I'm sure it was a younger one. But I didn't know then. I thought I thought it was a mountain person. And I didn't even think about it. So then I just sat there, and it didn't say anything to me, but walked together in front of herself. So I clocked my walks against each other too. And so I found one that was really pretty. Wasn't like a gemstone or anything like that. I found one that was really pretty. I set it away from me to give it to her. And she didn't get close, but stepped back a little bit because she was afraid of me. And I thought, okay, I'm still thinking in my mind that this is a mountain person. I just couldn't get that out of my head. I now know today that was probably a Sasquatch, younger Sasquatch, because now I know what I saw. And so I set the rock there towards her, and she stepped back away from me like she was afraid. I said, okay, that's fine. When I leave, you can just grab it and you grab it to yourself. She didn't say anything, sorry. I keep saying this like a conversation. But it's all like we're having a conversation. I backed up a little bit, and then I leaned forward and got my rocks I had left for myself. And I said, you have a good day, and I'll see you later. Because I was inside really scared because I wasn't sure what she was going to do or what. Or if mom and dad were close or whatever, and because I didn't know. So I got my rocks together. I had my little pouch, and I fully backed away and making eye contact the whole time. And I slowly backed away, and it walked slowly through the woods to the clearing, and I ran my butt to the house because I got my room at my house. I got my room to sit out there and breathe for a while, going, okay, not sure what I saw, but I think it was not in person. And that was scary because as a 13-year-old kid, you're not expecting people. You think you're alone, you leave alone on this property. You think you're alone, you don't think you're going to see anybody in the woods with you. So that's how that all went down.
That is absolutely fascinating. So I'm going to say a few things back to you. So it's a 5 foot tall, long curly hair. Now, was the curly hair just on top of the head, or was it all curly hair it was covered with?
No, it was coming off the head, yes. And then her hair was a little shorter, but it was all blondish color with I'm thinking to myself now that I wonder if it was like a albino kind of, because it was really light blonde. It was almost white. But there was a red streak through it, though, too. And, yeah, it was mostly off the top of the head was long. The head was not conical or anything. It was a little round. I think that's why I thought it was a person, because of a round her head. And the face was not a black at all. It was more like a person. But it had a bigger nose, bigger nose, but smushed down a little bit. And then kind of wider mouth. But with regular lips, like she was a person. So, yeah, I'm not sure what. I mean, now I know now I see it was a juvenile Sasquatch. I'm pretty sure.
Absolutely. Did you notice anything about the eyes in particular?
They were, I think that's why I thought was female, because they were more rounder and more feminine looking. And they're dark brown, almost black. And they're dark brown. I had really long eyelashes, like I thought. This thing was about 20 to 25 feet away from me. Very close. And so I was like, and now I'm thinking to myself, what the hell is that thing? But right. I didn't know then. I thought it was person. Yeah. And I know that if I wouldn't have gotten in trouble with my mom and dad, there was a person in the woods with me, and I got in trouble going to a creek by myself. As a kid.
We wouldn't want that. Were there any white parts to the eyes at all? You said it was a darker eye.
Yeah, it was. The eyes were really round and big, and I didn't notice there was any white to the eyes. I mean, she did look around, but I didn't really. I guess maybe I'm not remembering correctly because it's been 4 years ago, not 52, 44 years ago. So I don't know. And I can't remember really if there was any white in it, but I just know that the eyes were big and black. But they were really more round, and more the corners came out from the woman's eye. That's why I thought she was feminine, a girl, because she had more feminine looking eyes.
Sure.
More stand out on the corners kind of thing, and the big long eyelashes. Yeah.
And this happened, it sounds like in 1980-ish?
88.
Okay.
88.
Gotcha.
No, 83, sorry.
83.
I was 13.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got it. Did you notice anything about the length of the arms or the hands at all?
Yeah, that's one thing that I did notice. That I didn't see her whole body because she's leaning out. But yeah, she did seem that she has longer arms. And I didn't know how kids think. So I thought, oh, that's crazy. And if I lived in the woods, would all my hair grow like that too? And I remember thinking that to myself. It's like, oh wow, hair in my arms, all that stuff. I thought that's crazy. But I didn't notice the arm length much. But I'm pretty sure now that I think back, yeah, it's pretty lanky and kind of spindly. Yeah.
Were there ears visible?
No, I couldn't see her ears. No.
Okay.
Couldn't see her ears because the hair was so long coming out the top of her head, and it was almost like I don't know they weren't like ringless coming out, but it was just long and wavy, curly coming off the top of her head. And I wish I could explain it better for you, and then the hair went down the back that I could see. I only saw the front of her back. It looked like the hair went down in the back, but then there's some hair going hanging down in front of her face as well. It was like, I would say from the eyebrow, from the forehead coming down. I think the hair coming off her head was like 8 to 10 inches. That's long.
Oh, really?
Hair coming off.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. It was actually very pretty. And that's another reason why I thought it was female, because she had long, pretty hair. So yeah, craziness.
So it sounds like the entire subject was covered in hair. Were you able to see anything like muscles or any other features under the hair at any time?
Yeah, her hair wasn't that long over, mostly on the top of her head, like I said, but hair on the legs and arms were shorter, but again, like blonde hair. And then I could see her calf, when her leg leaned out, I could see her calf muscles were huge, but like I said again, spindly, but she was very muscular also. But and the arm muscle I couldn't see because she would sit there with arms back and leaning forward. All I saw was her left foot calf, and then I didn't. And because I got scared and ran, I didn't think about looking for a print or anything because I was too scared to go back out there.
Sure.
I didn't know if I was going to get kidnapped by a mountain person.
Exactly. Yeah. You mentioned already that the mouth was pretty wide. The area above the upper lip, but below the bottom of the nose is called the philtrum. Did you notice anything particular about that? Like how long that length would have been? Was it longer than a human's would be, etc.?
A little bit. Her face was longer, period, than a person's. But of course, now I'm coming to this now, looking back now, and thinking about these things. And I think her face is a little bit longer than a person's. But as far as the nose, the lip, upper lip, I guess it was a little bit longer. I wouldn't say it was like overly long, but I guess I didn't notice all that much. But like I said, it's 43 years ago. But I think, I'm sorry, I get lost in my head sometimes.
Oh, you're good.
Excuse me. Sorry. But yeah, I don't think it was that much longer. Maybe a little bit longer, not much. But she had, like I said, regular lips. And the chin was longer, too. The chin dragged her out forward a little bit. I remember that part, too. And she had about an inch and a half, 2 inch long beard hair off her chin.
Sure.
That's why I was confused. I thought, is it a female or a male? It's got a beard.
How long, again, do you think you had a time frame of actually looking at it?
I would say between me saying hi and me getting eked out and backing up and going back in the woods, I think about maybe, actually, from what I'm hearing, I was pretty long encounter by about maybe 2 minutes, 3 minutes maybe. Yeah, it's pretty, because we sat there for a while and just stared at each other. And she smirked her a half smile. No teeth showing, but just her mouth went up. Like, hi. She was saying hi back to me, kind of thing. I said, it was really peaceful, kind of serious at that time. Well, but then again, I thought it was a person, not a squash. So I thought, okay. I'm glad I did think it was a person because I probably would have been even more freaked out if I knew it was Sasquatch. No, it just, like I said, it was closed mouth smirk was all she gave me.
Got it.
Yeah. Yeah. And teeth.
Did you smell anything?
I did. Oh, yes.
Okay.
That's right. I thought, we have tons of skunks and stuff out there. And I thought, that smells like a skunk, but it smells different. That's weird. And so I blew it off because we smell skunk all the time. So I didn't think, and I blew it off and didn't think about it. But yeah, the smell was, and then they thinking back on it, or actually, I went back home and they didn't think about it. I was like, that smelled horrible. What was that? So, yeah, it was horrible. It was like a dog poop, urine, dead meat.
Wow.
Also, yucky. Yeah, yucky.
Were there any other sounds that you heard it make at all?
Oh yeah, she kind of did this like just kind of a. That's all she kind of. I told you now when she made it kind of like she was trying to say hi, or I'm not sure if that's what she's trying to do, but she just. And she did it quite frequently, just a little tiny grunt. That's all I got.
Gotcha.
And that's another reason why I didn't think she was. That's another reason why I didn't think she was very aggressive, because she was just acknowledging me. I think it was just acknowledgement. Hi, here I am. We're both here. We're looking at each other. Kind of thing. I'm looking at you. You're gonna be okay. We're okay.
What would you say the number one thing would be that told you that you were looking at a Sasquatch and not one of these mountain people of Fall Creek?
Back then, I didn't think anything different than mountain person. But now that I'm thinking back and looking, I'm thinking to myself, now I'm thinking it was the stance, the way she stood and leaned forward and not like a person would stand, not got upright, kind of like a person would stand. It was upright the way a person would stand. And the longer hair, all that hair, and the way her face was shaped was not person shape. The jutted down chin and the bigger forehead and things like that. And just I have to see all the other examples of not necessarily the Patty footage, but she was nothing like Patty. It's a lot lighter skin. I won't say it wasn't light skin like white people's skin, but I think it was more like a darker tan skin. And then I don't know if it. I don't know. I think that's another reason I think I thought maybe she's more like a person, because she had tan skin, not anything else. Yeah.
Okay. It sounded like you were able to see, I'm just going to see her move around. Did you notice anything out of the ordinary about the way that it was walking or the gait of it as it walked around?
And it didn't really walk around. She just stood there frozen with me for those few minutes because, she didn't really walk around. She was kind of stood there. And neither one of us really moved. We just stared at each other and didn't really, other than me saying hi and her grunting, her little thing she did. And then she didn't really move much other than that. So other than the leaning forward and just leaning over and seeing me, that's pretty much all she did. And there was no really walking and moving anything. So, yeah.
Gotcha. Remind me how the encounter ended again.
Oh, I scooped up my rock. I left a rock for her because I thought, well, here you go, here's a rock. You can have one of my rocks. It was a pretty rock. It wasn't anything special, but I thought it was pretty. So I gave her one of my rocks and laid on the bank next to me. You can have this one. And I gathered up all my little rocks in my pouch and I had brought with me. And I backed away, keeping eye contact with her because I wasn't sure what was going to happen. And I was scared, not scared. It's just uneasy, not really scared, but uneasy, like I wasn't sure. And so I backed up into the woods and backed up and walked slowly back to the clearing behind my house, and then ran to the house and ran to my room.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You mentioned before that the area you were living at was a rabbit farm with about 1,500 rabbits.
Yeah.
Did you guys ever encounter, do you think, any of these coming close to where the rabbits are? Or did you ever notice anything weird happening around the house?
The only thing we ever, and again, we thought was just regular, sure what we thought was, but we had geese at one point. We stopped counting geese because they kept getting missing. And we'd hear the geese at night honking like crazy, freaking out. And then we'd get up the next day, we have a goose missing. And then, but they never really bothered the rabbit barn, which I'm surprised because I figured they would be in there. And my dad would have a manure pile back up the barn that we would have the rabbit manure because we sold that too for fertilizer for gardens. And they had a manure pile, and you noticed that there was something digging in it all the time. So she didn't know what it was, but back then we didn't have cameras we could put out or nothing, but they would cost much back then. But so he just was how something digging in the manure pile. So I don't know if they were eating it or taking it for, I know what they were taking it for, but even if it was them taking it, I don't know. But something was digging in the manure pile all the time. That's what we knew. And the geese missing. And I never, like I said, we never thought to look for any kind of prints or anything like that because we didn't know they existed out there. Because this is not like in town, but it's out in the country, yes, but it's not like in the actual forest or anything. It's like it's Nestor Creek, and it's, you know how Oak Ridge is. I mean, Oak Ridge is kind of in the forest, kind of, but down, when you go down further, you probably drove past Fall Creek when you drove up to Oak Ridge. I mean,
so I took 58 down from Eugene, so I would have been driving through Dexter, but I didn't go up on that Jasper Lowell Road or whatever it's called.
That's the road I lived on, was Jasper Lowell Road.
Okay.
Back then. Yeah. Yep.
So
you know what's that.
Yeah, it might be an area I need to check out next time I go out there for sure. There's so many different things I could check out. Were you saying...
I'd be happy to show you around.
Right. Were you saying that... How many times have you shared this story before?
Just one other time.
Oh, wow. Okay. So
to my best friend. Yeah. To my best friend. I didn't want to have family or anything, because back then I thought I'd get in trouble for being by the creek by myself. I was supposed to be out there by myself.
I talked to a lot of people when I was at the festival in Oak Ridge about sightings in the area, and there were more than a few of them that said, I had something happen over by Fall Creek or by Winberry.
Oh, okay.
Now,
that's good.
Growing up, did you ever hear any other things happening in this area as well?
Never. No, never.
Wow.
Not that area, no.
Extremely interesting.
No, I mean, it's just such a stigma, and it's more so than it is now. You just thought crazy if you said anything like that back then. If you thought it was Sasquatch, so.
Something that got mentioned to me in passing at that festival, they said that there was actually a study that was done, I want to say in the 70s in that area about was it Wild Man of Winberry? I don't know if I'm saying that, but I don't know if any listeners have any info about that, but it was just an in passing thing that I heard. One of the larger universities.
I grew up out there. Yeah, I was born and raised out there, so I never heard anything about that guy, about things, so I know. Yeah.
Any other, just asking in passing, any other things you've heard about Bigfoot in that area of where east of Eugene, down in Fall Creek, or even down to Oak Ridge, that whole area?
You know, and that's the funny thing is my cousins were raised in Oak Ridge. They went from Bertford to this. One of them still lives there, and I asked one of them, the one that lives here in town by me, and he asked me if he'd ever seen anything out there, but like this one. He said, nope, never. And so I said, well, that's interesting, because I know they spend a lot of time in the woods. And the boys, there's three boys and four girls, and they all spend all the time in the woods. They're all tomboys like me, and so the girls were anyway. And they said they never saw anything, any Sasquatch, nothing. Which I thought was maybe they're not telling me the truth.
You never know. That's
because they don't know my story either. So.
There's a lot of people where I would talk to them, and it took them a while to open up, which is understandable. But yes, that happens sometimes where it takes people a while to open up. Now, you had mentioned something really interesting in the pre-interview that came up, and I was actually like, oh, let's talk about that later because this sounds pretty wild. And it was a story about your grandfather. Do you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah. My grandfather, bless his soul, he was the best guy. He's just so sweet and nice. I miss him a lot. He used to be a miner down in, they lived in what's called Happy Camp. It's down by Hoopa, California. And so they lived in Happy Camp on the reservation there. And he and a group of guys were miners down there. They mined Bluff Creek. And he had told stories to me, allegedly, that he and his buddies were mining on the side of the creek when Patterson-Gimlin filmed their Patty. And I didn't never realize what that was until these days. Now I see the film of Patty. I'm like, what? Like back then, I never even saw those kind of things. We didn't watch a lot of TV back then. We didn't have TV back then, because that's how old I am. But yeah. So I thought, well, that's cool. And so I never thought he was crazy or anything. I thought that was interesting. And my uncle had confirmed that he has told that story to him as a kid as well. So that was his son. And so I thought, he's got to be telling the truth. He has no reason to lie to me. He's his granddaughter. So, but yeah, and he just didn't say a whole lot about it. Other than he heard this whooping and screaming while they were riding, and they looked over and they saw Patterson-Gimlin had this on their horses, and then they were looking across the creek, and then he looked over and he said, "Oh my gosh, that's what it is." He didn't know what it was. And then after the news came out and all thing like that, then he knew what it was. The Sasquatch they saw, so that's cool. My claim to fame.
Oh, absolutely. So this is where it gets really interesting, because I want to clarify a few things, because the Patterson-Gimlin film does not have sound to it, right? You've always seen it. There's no sound. However, what you're saying is that your grandfather was mining in an area that was close to where the filming was happening, and they heard a scream.
I heard of them Patterson-Gimlin hollering at each other, "Get over here, get over here!" And then heard a crash, and apparently that was when Patterson fell, because they fell up, And so he heard a crash, and then he says, "Are you okay?" And heard all that kind of stuff and things like that. And then he looked, and then that's when he looked over on the other side of the creek and saw Patty. He saw from the back. So if you look at the Patty film, she's looking directly at the camera. And then grandfather would be downstream to the left, but then to the left more down, about probably 120, 105, yeah.
So, oh my goodness. So you're saying, so they didn't hear like a Bigfoot scream, but they did hear Patterson and Gimlin yelling at each other, "Hey,
Yeah.
And
yes.
Okay. Are you also saying that your grandfather looked over and saw Patty as well?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But from a different viewpoint.
And nobody ever did. And even my grandma didn't believe him. And so my grandma was like, "I'll stop telling that story." And here's a really crappy part, Jeremiah, is that my grandmother threw away all his pictures and all his stories when he died.
Oh.
She thought it was all crap. I know.
Well,
yeah, my grandma was not very nice.
What kind of things did she throw away?
There's just some stories, like a journal he had, kept about his mining and things like that, things he saw and stuff like that. But then he sees it all away, not just Bigfoot stuff, but all of it. And he was just journaling and things like that. There was some pictures of him in the gang, and I would try to toss those pictures to see if there's anything in the background, to see if there's anything there, to see, because we're hearing now that they saw a couple other ones back in the background in the woods, behind Patty. So I'm wondering now, if I had those pictures, I could see if there was anything in the background of those pictures, if there's any other Sasquatch in there, that pictures he had that area kind of thing. So, and I remember being in their yard and things, because Happy Camp is very far away from Bluff Creek at all. I'm sure they were on their house as well. I'm sure, because I used to go down there and visit with them all the time. It's about a 6-hour drive from where we lived. Yeah.
That's incredible. Oh my goodness. So even if there was something that would have proved that your grandfather was there, it was thrown away when your grandmother cleaned house, pretty much.
I'll be honest with you. My grandmother was one of those ladies that just did her duty by the man she was with, and then once they're gone.
Oh dear. Yeah.
That's what they did back in the day, because they were born in 18 teens, I understand. So they're like, that's just what they did back then. As he's gone, he's gone.
What an incredible story! As part of that story, did your grandfather ever describe Patty at all, or what he saw, or anything like that?
I don't remember. He really never described much of anything. I think he's scared to say anything about it at all because he told my cousin and I when we were alone with him, and because he's afraid that my grandma would walk in and say, "Oh, shut up, whatever." That's just some of those lies, right?
Okay, all right.
So
he was
a
a
little
little scared, yeah.
So my grandpa, my grandpa. Oh yeah, she wore the pants for sure. but my grandpa, he was the sweetest guy though. But my cousin and I, he's sitting on his lap and he just tells stories after stories of all kinds of different things. And I sure miss that guy. He's fun. He's fun. It's a good grandpa.
He sounds like he had probably the best stories. Just one of those guys.
Oh gosh, yeah. And it didn't matter what he told either. We were on pins and needles going, what are you going to tell us next?
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
wow.
He's great, yeah.
Incredible. And then how crazy is it that he was part of that famous sighting, and then you, about less than 20 years later, have your own. It's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I swear, I really wish now. I don't know if I wish now that I knew or not. But it's better to live with hindsight. I'm not sure, but if I had known that was Sasquatch, I'm not sure how it would have felt. It was after that my grandpa had told those stories about that. So I didn't know, whatever. So I didn't know. So after hearing my story from Grandpa, I didn't know. Because, like I said, she looks nothing like Patty. It's totally different. Different face shape, different, longer, blonde hair. Everything is so different. That's why, to this day, I believe that there's different species of Bigfoot. I think there's different types. I believe that now.
Interesting.
Because what constitutes having long blonde hair and a different face shape opposed to these more squattier black hair, short hair, and the more squishy short face like that he has. I don't know. I really believe that there has to be, just like animals, just in dogs, cats, and though they're the same species, they're just different breeds kind of thing. I wonder if that's the case with Sasquatch too. So
just to double check.
I don't know.
Just to double check, as part of the story your grandfather would share with you, did he ever say anything like, yeah, afterwards we went over and talked to Roger and Bob, or like we would talk to him afterwards, or we had any sort of interaction with him?
No, I think it happened so quick, and like I said, they were on a crew. I think they were on a time limit. I'm not sure what it was, but they had a crew boss and all that kind of stuff for them back then. They had, because they had actual businesses, mining businesses back then that my grandpa worked for. So
right.
It wasn't just wasn't just a hobby thing. It was like a job.
Oh yeah,
so,
exactly.
So, yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so they'd heard the L watch what happened and everything like that, and then he didn't say they talked to him or anything like that, or I don't know if his mob boss, sorry, their mining boss did that. No. Yeah, mob boss.
That's funny.
Mining boss went and talked about. I don't know about that or not, but they didn't though. No.
What an absolutely fascinating story. That alone could be that could put you down a rabbit hole to try to.
You think? I know.
Yeah, you're like, I've been doing it. So you did mention, though, that was it your uncle was the one that would talk to him a lot about it?
Yeah, it was his stepson. So, yeah, actually, it's his son. So, yeah, they grew up with him. Yeah.
Okay. Is that individual with us anymore or not?
I don't know. Okay. We haven't talked in years. So I have no idea.
Absolutely. Yeah, no problem.
But yeah.
If fate has it, if they're listening, reach out. Stuff like that happens on this show. It's really weird. Connections will come out of nowhere.
Somebody knows them. Yeah, I know. It's crazy, huh? And somebody may show up in the door and say, how dare you?
Yeah, it is what it is, right?
Yeah, I'm sure. I know how he's suffering.
I'm sure your grandpa would be tickled or ecstatic to hear that his story is being shared with tons of people that appreciate it, right?
And I have to thank you because for people like you, I would feel so comfortable in telling the stories. And so I've thought that for a long time that Grandpa needs his stories told. He needs. I've honestly thought about writing a book about my grandpa and how and telling all those stories. And they're all fascinating. Not just this one, but they're all fascinating. Also, the things he went through and mining days and growing up as a kid and things like that. And it's just also interesting. So, but I think I appreciate having the platform to tell the stories and get them out there. And you're right, he would think it's great that he goes, yeah, I'm glad finally somebody hearing my story.
And they're all really excited about it. And they're going to be probably talking about it for a while. Wow.
Yeah.
Thank you for the kind words. That's why I do this show, is so people can get their stories out. And even people that aren't with us anymore, they can get their stories out as well through their relatives that are still here. And TJ, I just appreciate you coming on. Did you have any, just to check, did you have any other things that you would want to share before we start to wind down our time together?
I don't think so. I think that's pretty much it. I just show my appreciation for you and having me on and getting our stories out there. And like I said, I've binge watched a lot of your shows. Just catch up on things you've done. And every time one comes out, I have all the notifications set so I can see one every time it comes out. And I love all the stories. And here's the thing I want to ask, and I'm going to ask the listeners too, is that once you have had this encounter, some people are like, I've seen one. I don't ever want to see one again. Some people, oh gosh, I can't wait to see one again. And I'm on the fence about it. I'm like, I saw one, and my experience was so calm and just not frightening that I think I could go ahead and see one again. But I'm not sure how I would feel if it were. Now I know it was Sasquatch. How I feel about it, kind of thing. I feel fortunate that I did see her, but the same aspect, I'm like, do I just leave it at that and don't go see any more, or do I just go out seeing if I can see one again? But then what I've heard, though, too, that if you go out looking for it, you won't see it. But if you are just hanging out doing nothing, that's when you see them.
TJ, that is such a great thing to bring up. And I've talked to so many people over the years, and I think what it comes down to, and I experienced this out in Oak Ridge in the woods as well, is that it's really not about going out. Man, 5 years ago, I wouldn't even, I would listen to myself now and I'd be like, what are you talking about? But for now, what I'm learning is it's not about going out there and hitting the trees or making the calls.
Right.
It's about literally just have a chair, sit down, enjoy the nature, have the right motivation, and just let it happen. And I'll tell you, if the right people are there with the right attitudes, you're going to experience stuff and it will come to you eventually. Right. And it will just blow your mind. Right. I had it happen to me personally. Right. And I know some people are listening to this and be like, you're crazy. I experienced it. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
You could do that.
I know what I saw.
Yeah, absolutely. And I haven't had a visual yet, but I think if I keep going to, especially this corridor area, this 58 corridor from like Eugene down to Oak Ridge and even past it, maybe down to Odell Lake and over to Crescent, this whole area is just crazy. I think eventually there'll be something that happens. So we'll see.
Yes. Yeah. And Upper Fall Creek, this place called Little Fall Creek too, is Upper Fall Creek is more back in the woods where the mountain people live. I would say there's probably more sightings up there too, but I would like to hear from people out there if they have any sightings out there, if they live out there. So.
Oh, okay. So you're saying Fall Creek and then you take the road out to Little Fall Creek. That's pretty far out there, but it's still a community?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. You take, it's not really a community, but it's just more country. And it's going down the Jesperlow Road, and then through, once you get to the intersection to go towards Unity or Lowell, you keep going. And then that's up the Little Fall Creek, yeah.
Now, are the roads up there, are they they're probably like dirt roads, or is it still paved up there?
No, they're paved. Pretty far up there, paved, yeah. Yeah, if you come up this way, I'd love to show you around and take you out there. It'd be fun. Yeah, if you ever get this out this way again.
I'll keep it in mind. That whole area, and thank you for the offer. There's so much wild stuff, even down in the Dexter area, in like Elijah Bristow, Lowell. Yes. That whole area just seems wild too.
Lowell Butte is another place to check. Yeah.
Oh, Lowell. You're saying Lowell Butte?
Lowell Butte. Lowell Butte. And it's right up above Dexter. Yeah.
Okay.
And in that area. And that's pretty much, they're doing a lot of housing projects up there now, but I'm sure there's people that have had encounters up there. I'm pretty sure, because I know there's one back in the day. I've heard about it now, and not recently, but I know that back in the day was hiding out there. I heard about it recently, but somebody saw one out there.
Oh, wow. Just off to the side, do you think that the whole mountain people of Fall Creek that's still a thing that might happen up there?
Oh yeah, definitely. Just and College Grove as well. They have people up there too. The people in the hills. They call people in College Grove. They call them people of the hills, and Fall Creek we call them mountain people. Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy.
That's
I know. And it's just it's very interesting and it's scary. Really, just not sure. And I'm not sure now. I still hear of them, and I'm not sure if they're. And it's a lot of stuff going on. Just like whatever happens with them, and they don't go to school. They just live up there.
Oh, wow. Okay. So it's a whole different world, and the rules don't apply. Yes. And be careful when you go out there.
Absolutely.
Okay. I got it. You never know, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's your warning, Jeremiah.
This is called foreshadowing, right? You never know.
Right?
But I when I go out there, you definitely want to have people with you that know the area. And I'm not just going out in the woods by myself, especially out in this area of Oregon. No. Not a smart idea. So.
Yeah, great. That's it. Yes. Take a big man with a bat with you. Yeah.
Out there, it's a whole different world.
And that's thing I was wondering too, and I think I sent you an email about this before, but I wonder why you don't hear a lot of sightings in Hawaii.
I think it's because it's just on an island. That's a good question, right? Because there are stories from cultures on other islands, Papua New Guinea, I believe. There's other examples of that.
Guam.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. That's a good question. If anyone has any ideas, feel free to share them. But I've never actually really thought of that before. I've just been like, what's a thing where they're just not there, right? Yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that's I don't. It'd be interesting to hear somebody just not talk about it, or they're actually there and just gonna leave them alone, whatever. I don't know, because they're the native people out there too. So, you can try about that. It is.
TJ, it's been a pleasure chatting with you. Thanks again so much for coming on the show. If you stumble upon anything else, any other stories or things you remember later, feel free to reach out. I'd always love to chat with you, and maybe our paths will cross someday. So
I think that'd be great.
Here at Bigfoot Society, our goal is to provide a platform for those that have encountered Bigfoot to share their encounter in a safe and respected environment. But we need to hear your story. If you've experienced something that you just can't explain, please send me an email at bigfootsociety@gmail.com. Then we can start the conversation. And I know a lot of you have not shared your encounter at all. It's been 20 years, and it's time that you get this off your chest, and then you can get some well-deserved rest, because I know you haven't been sleeping. I understand what you're going through, and I appreciate every one of you listening.
Bigfoot Society podcast, hosted by our captain, Jeremiah Byron, where it's all Bigfoot all the time. Have you ever had the urge to do more, to be more? Now you can by joining Bigfoot Society on the Patreon. Get ad-free episodes and even member-only episodes. Take part in movie night and even live video chats. Interact behind the scenes with Jeremiah and other Patreon members like me, Slaya. The powerful podcast goes on, and you may contribute a verse in our Patreon community. Carpe diem. Seize the day, Bigfooters, and make your lives extraordinary.
Please take a minute to help out the show by subscribing on YouTube, making sure you hit the bell so you don't miss any notifications, and share the episode on YouTube with a friend. Also, if you're listening to us on a podcast, thank you so much. Make sure that you're subscribed, share the show with a friend. Really, it's all about sharing the show wherever you can. If you've had a Bigfoot encounter related to the following or know someone who has, please reach out to me at bigfootsociety@gmail.com or pass on my email. Here's the list. If you've had any encounters in Oregon, which I'm sure there's probably a few of you out there, please feel free to reach out immediately. You can use email bigfootsociety@gmail.com. A special thank you to all the Bigfoot Society Patreon and YouTube channel members. It's your support that helps keep the show going, and I extremely appreciate it. If you want to join in the fun, you can join over at patreon.com/the Bigfoot Society. I'll see you there. And again, thanks for listening.